there is a hierarchy in this world, period. There's no way around that. You know what I mean? And I like those who are willing to put it all on the line to determine where they rank or where they fit in that hierarchy. And that's what those guys did. That's what Eubanks definitely did. He said, hey, man, he was the better man today. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing away from that type of response or that type of logic after the fight. We're going to start with Conor Benn and Eubank. But the fight that took place before it is also very important at this point. Not last night, but a week before, which is Ortiz and Lubin. We're going to talk about that too. I'm going to break both of them down stylistically. And it's some exciting stuff coming down the pike in boxing, man. Definitely for sure. Eric Dallas said, what up, bro? Been waiting on you. Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I don't know how to feel about the fight. Number one, it was an exciting fight. I give both guys, Eubanks and Benn, credit for finishing the fight, for making the fight happen. But I was looking at this fight, and the thing that Chris Eubanks said that kind of stood out to me, he said it wasn't there. And I thought the same thing. I was waiting for him to start, and he never really got a chance to get off. Now, that could be for a number of reasons, right? But he didn't look as energetic as he was in the original bout. So the things that may have went on behind the scenes, I look at him as a man's man, because the way he gracefully gave the spotlight to Benn, even though there clearly was something different about Eubanks in this fight, just shows what type of man he is. And if they fought again, great. I think it's bad for both of them to fight again, to be honest. I don't think Benn belongs at 160. Obviously, because he's talking about going down to fight Haney and guys at 147, because that's where he belongs. And I think he'll dominate there, to be quite honest. So, yeah, I don't think he belongs at 160. And I don't think Eubanks does either, because Eubanks looks like, I think he's, at this point, he needs to stay 68, go up to light heavyweight maybe, because he just didn't look right. I don't know if it was a mental thing or if he just overtrained in the gym. And sometimes that happens. I've overtrained guys where, they had to take some months off because, they were flat. Like, I have them sparring and they're not responding properly. Their reflexes are not there. They're getting hit with shots they normally don't get hit with. I've seen that happen where we were preparing for fights. And I'm like, hey, you got to sit down for a second, because if you show up to any fight the way you are in this current condition, you're going to get hurt, right? So I've done that with my own fighters, and I had to learn that, they're not Madden characters. The fatigue button and meter ain't there. So you can't just work them into the ground. And I think Chris Eubanks may have, because of the added pressure of this rematch, I think he may have overtrained, I think. Or something significantly stressful happened that definitely had him in a different headspace, because his reaction time wasn't the same as it was in the first fight. But also, Benn's strategy wasn't the same as it was in the first fight either. He had a more of a yo-yo style this time, fought like a Russian fighter, to be honest with you, because Russians and Cubans have this style where they fight on their toes and they're in and out, in and out, so they can time their half step backs, they can time those shots to the body, and they fight more like an amateuristic, light on your toes style. And Benn definitely deployed that herky-jerky yo-yo style in this fight. Did a lot more body work than I expected him to do, because, obviously he's slightly smaller. So I didn't think he was going to try to fight inside to get to the body. But he didn't. He didn't stay inside when he was throwing his body shots. He was throwing them from outside using explosive moves to do it. Like, he was throwing right hands to the body from, mid-range or outside, rather than getting all the way in to do it. And he got countered a couple times clean. So Eubanks was able to time him. His timing was okay. That's what makes me question whether or not it was overtraining or his mental status, because his timing, when you overtrain, or if you're overtraining, then your timing is usually off, right? It's off. His timing wasn't that bad, because on his counters, when he would catch catch Benn coming out, he'd catch him clean. It was nice counters. He kept catching him with uppercuts and nice shots on his way out. So his timing was there, but he just wasn't the same energetically for whatever reason. Maybe down the line he'll explain what that was and why that was. But the fight was still, with that said, still a great fight. One of the best fights this year. And the way they did the 12th round was crazy. Like that was the theatrics that you need to even set up a third fight. But I think if they do fight again, it should be years down the line. It shouldn't be right away. I don't think they should rush that fight, because the two fights that they've had created so much fanfare for each of them, business wise. And this is where I'm going to put my business hat on, because for those of you who don't know, I do promote fights too. I'm in everything there is boxing. I train fighters, I manage fighters, I promote fights. You name it, in boxing, I've done it. You know what I mean? For the most part, except for a fight, obviously. I didn't have a boxing career, but I've been boxing since I was 7. So, yeah. But from the business aspect of it, I think they both fair to make more, no matter what the paycheck would be if they fought again. I don't care if you gave them 30 mil, 40 mil, 50 mil each. They both stand to make more not fighting each other next, because they still have that trilogy fight. No matter what happens with their career, now their trilogy fight still will make money because of how good the first two were. You know what I'm saying? So in between, they can make money fighting anybody else. And I think Benn's strategy, for 2 reasons, makes sense in going down to 47. Number one, don't go to 54, because Eddie Hearns manages both, or has both you and Boots in the same stable. So obviously you don't want 2 guys at 54 competing for the titles when Boots is trying to clear that division out, right? Boots has just vacated 147, which is really weak. When you have 147 now, you're talking about Norman versus Haney, as if these guys are like the top of the top at 47, which they are now. But about a year or so ago, 2 years ago, you would have been talking about Crawford and Boots at 47, and a lot of other guys that these guys would have had to deal with that we considered top notch. But Boots and Crawford and those guys cleared that division out, and a lot of those guys are either retired or they're moving up, and then you got the journeyman that's still kind of hanging around that division. So the future is bright for 47, especially if Benn's going down there. I think Benn can definitely deal with any of those 140 pounders that are coming up that will fight eventually at 147. He's too big for those guys. He's quick and explosive. And then guys like Haney and Norman, what he put on last night, what he showed me last night, that he can, that he definitely can box a little bit, and box enough to be what I would call a puncher boxer. He's still a puncher, right, Benn? But he knows how to box when he needs to. That's the style that I teach, and that's the style that I think is the most prevalent in regards to the most dangerous, should I say, not the most prevalent, because most people don't do it, but it's the most dangerous style, I think, in boxing is puncher boxer, right? And the reason I say that is because if you're a puncher who can really punch, like you legitimately have power, but you can fight gracefully on your toes when you need to, a boxer puncher would be a Sugar Ray Leonard, meaning a guy who leads with boxing and lets the knockout come to him, right? That's a safe power puncher, a guy that can, have you follow him around and get you out of here. But a puncher boxer is a guy like a Marvin Hagler, right? He's looking to hurt you. Like Benn is looking to hurt you, right? He's looking to knock you out. But if you have anything in the tank, or if you have any ripples in your game, and you can, fight on your toes, you can change angles, things like that, a puncher boxer can adapt to that and still be able to adjust with you, instead of just being like one of those straight line ABC fighters. So I think the future is bright for Benn at any weight sub 154. 147 is probably the lowest he can go. When you look at the way his career started, both of those guys, they're silver spoon kids. They're not kids that are guys or young men who needed boxing. They had money. They grew up silver spoon, sort of. And for them to come out the way they came out, as far as with true grit, true heart, shows that's in the DNA, man, because Benn has no reason to really fight other than the want to. And those are the type of champions, or the type of fighters I like anyway. You know what I mean? I don't want the prize fighter, the guy that's fighting because he needs money and wants money only, right? Yeah, you're going to get money for doing this. But I like the guy that it's just in you. This is what you would be doing if it was free. You know what I mean? Those are the guys that create champions, are great champions. And I think Benn definitely can be that at 47. So hats go off to him, man. It was a hell of a fight. Both guys had to put it all on the line. Like I said, stylistically, that in and out style, that body jab was effective. He had a progressive offense. And when I say a progressive offense, I don't see a lot of boxers using a progressive style of offense. And when I say progressive, I mean a tree. There's a tree to your offense. Sugar Ray Robinson used to have progressive offense where he would establish the jab early, first round, he's circling left, right, establishing his jab. And you guys can watch this, as I said, or you can go Google it afterward. But he would work his way around you with the jab for the first 2-3 rounds just to get the jab established. And these aren't feints. They're hard jabs. There's no soft jab, nothing quick. Hard jabs on purpose to set up feints with that jab in the third or fourth round. So now in the third or fourth round, when that fighter adjusts to that jab and now is looking for the jab, now behind that, he's setting up his right hand to the body. Sugar Ray Robinson would be. You know what I'm saying? So now it's progressive, meaning I give you something to take away on purpose. I establish it so that you have to counter it, look for it, take it away. And then when I see that you've adjusted to that, I'm already on to my next adjustment in regards to my offensive tree. And then, you know, as you go on, the combinations develop and the setups develop based off of that progress. And Benn was doing that. He set up the body jab beautifully. Off that body jab, he was able to set up overhand rights and right hands to the body because that body jab was forcing Eubank to freeze a little bit. As he froze, you saw, you know, he had a two-way go. Benn did. You know, he could change levels, throw a right hand to the body, or he can just throw those overhand rights to the head, depending on the leverage that Eubanks presented. So he was presenting problems for Eubanks with that. And then as Eubanks caught on to the jabs and the right hands to the body, he started getting hit clean with the rights to the head and so on. Then the hooks start developing off of that. And then it became a fight. You know what I'm saying? So for him to stay patient enough to watch that offense sort of blossom the way it did in that fight, that's something that most fighters today don't even they don't do it. They fight random. They get into tip-top shape, you know, and then they're going. Their strategy is I'm gonna tire you out and then I'm gonna walk you down, right? Most of the time, that's what most fighters are doing today. They're just super athletic. You know what I'm saying? They're endurance monsters or attrition monsters that are just strong, fast, and quick. But I don't see the IQ all the time in the game. I respect it when I do see it. Like Gervonta Davis gets way more respect from me than he gets from a lot of other boxing fans because I'm watching a guy that's 5'5", 5'6", something like that, set up guys that are bigger than him, naturally bigger. He's setting them up early in fights because he'll sit in front of you and let you throw punches to tire you out and also to get a read on your timing, your speed, your distance, how you judge it, your angles, your combinations. He's standing right in front of you taking pictures. That's what Gervonta Davis will do. And then he'll slowly chop you down after that. He'll start catching you with shots after he gets your timing down. That's a style that he doesn't need to watch film with that type of style because that's a style where he can come into a fight and he's gathering data and information in the first 3 rounds. That's a high boxing IQ. And I can see him doing it. You can watch Rolly Romero. He didn't come out and try to fight Rolly. He didn't even come out and try to fight Ryan Garcia, even though he knocked him out pretty quick. He didn't come out quickly trying to fight Frank Martin. He studies his opponents while in the ring in front of you. That takes IQ and patience and understands that, hey, I don't have to win every round. I just have to make it, close and decisive in those rounds. But again, seeing guys that are able to do that in this era is a breath of fresh air. So I didn't think Benn had that in him. I'm very surprised that he was able to do something other than be a brawler like his father, right? So much respect to him. Much more respect to him than I had even after the first fight, which the first fight I thought that he put it all on the line, but he sold blood. I don't believe in selling blood. If it had, you got to do it, you got to do it. Meaning you get in the fight, selling blood is, I know that I'm taking damage to beat you. Like a Joe Frazier style is selling blood. You know what I mean? I'm taking years off my life every time I step in the ring, literally, because I'm trading 1 punch for 5. That's selling blood. And that's what Benn did the first fight. He was selling blood. But this fight, he actually boxed. And that was beautiful to see. Much respect. Let me see what you guys are talking about in here real quick. Eric Dallas said, I think simply the weight, he needs a year or 2 off and gradually adjust to 68. He's got 2 good fights left. Yeah, I agree. His post in the ring response was solid. Yeah, that's a man right there. Say it's all about him and be that gracious. You don't see that either. You don't see that many real ones. I don't even like saying real ones no more because everybody a real one, everybody a thug, everybody's him, everybody, you know what I mean? And you are in your own regard. I won't take that away from anybody. Everybody has their own trials, tribulations, and things that they've overcome to be that which they claim to be, right? But you still know, there's a hierarchy, there's champions, and there's winners and losers for a reason in a competitive market or competitive world. But I don't like saying those things because everybody takes the value out of those statements, because there is, nobody wants to lose, and everybody gets a trophy nowadays. I don't believe in none of that. There is a winner, there is a loser. There is a hierarchy in this world, period. There's no way around that. You know what I mean? And I like those who are willing to put it all on the line to determine where they rank or where they fit in that hierarchy. And that's what those guys did. That's what Eubanks definitely did. He said, hey, man, he was the better man today. You know what I mean? Can't take nothing away from that type of response or that type of logic after the fight.